Only 1% of all of the water on the planet is fresh, usable water, and it's found in our lakes and rivers. I'm Alyn, and this is Stephen, and together we work for an organisation called CatchmentCARE, who study and look after some of our rivers. We set out on a journey to explore 3 rivers, the Arnie, the Blackwater and the Finn, and along the way we met some amazing people who are taking care of them, and some of them doing mind-blowing science to help them. We got to see some incredible places, some super sights and fantastic creatures. And most of all, we learned just how important our rivers are. Do you want to find out more? Then welcome to the river. Hello! And welcome back to the river. Now, you could be forgiven for thinking, if you're down beside the river, that there's nothing going on here, it's just a bunch of water. But actually, where there's water, there's life. Teeming with life, actually. We call this a habitat. If it's in the river, on the river, down in the silt and the mud at the bottom of the river, or in the banks or the vegetation, it's filled with life.
And today we're going to do some kicksampling to explore the freshwater invertebrates that live in the bottom of the river. And we've also got a treat for you. You know that, Alyn? We've got a real big treat.
Oh yeah.
We're going to talk to some people who are going to talk to us about river monsters.
River monsters?
I'm only joking. We're going to look at larger river creatures. We're here today to look at a tributary that flows into the river Blackwater. Well, we're not going to look too much at the water today, but instead we're going to focus on the little creatures that live within the water. And we're going to be meeting Noreen, Maeve and Pascal from Loch Ness Discovery Centre.
Hello!
Hello.
How are you?
We're well, thank you.
Thank you. So what are we doing today? This looks like an awful lot of equipment.
Today we're doing some kick sampling. We're going to have a look at the invertebrate life of the river behind us, and hopefully we'll find lots and lots of different creatures which will tell us about the quality of the river.
For your kick sampling, all you'll need is a net like this, and this is to collect all your invertebrates in the water. And then once we take them out, you'll need a tray to put them in so we can get a good look at them. And you can use things like magnifying glasses to get a better look, close-up look at them. And also to help us identify what creatures are, you might want to look at some ID charts, and you can find lots of these online. So if you're going down to the river, always remember to bring an adult with you every time. And then when you're going in, you need sturdy footwear like we're wearing here, so wellies or something like that. And then when you're walking down into the river, make sure to find a good spot that you can easily access the water. And then when you're actually in the water, be sure to be careful on the stones because they can be very slippy.
And then it was down into the river. Maeve showed us how to put our net into the water so that the water flowed through the net, carrying any creatures with the mud in through our nets. Stephen had to have a go, of course, because, well, Stephen always has to have a go. And the important thing to remember here at the river is that creatures are living all throughout this habitat. They're in the mud, they're on the stones, they're on the surface of the water, they're living in and through the water, they're in the mud at the side of the banks, they're in the vegetation and the grass and the brambles and stuff at the side of the river too.
Wow. We've got lots and lots of things in the trays. This tray is very, very good. We have got lots of mayfly larvae in this tray. These are the little creatures here with 3 tails. Their tails are very, very fine, and they're members of the insect family. They've got 6 legs. There's lots of different types of mayfly larvae. There's a different one here at this end of the tray.
Look at that boy.
This one is much, much bigger, and his body is kind of flattened, and he lives underneath
Looks like
the
he's been
stones.
squashed.
But he's just flat so that he can crawl
can
in
move in and
underneath
out.
the stones.
Okay. Let's see what else. Anything else? What about this one?
This one is a freshwater shrimp, and it's a member of the crustacean family. This one is easy to identify because it always swims along on its side. He's a sign of really good water quality.
Right. Fantastic. Well, what about, we'll take a look at this tray.
Yep, this one's
What
good
about
too.
this? We've actually got many habitats in here, don't we?
Yes.
We've got stones from the river.
We've lifted out some of the stones from the river so we can have a wee look at them. We'll put them back in the river when we're finished, but it's good to have a close look at the stones to see what's on them. This stone here is really good, and you can see on top of it there's lots and lots of eggs. I'm not quite sure what these eggs belong to, which creature, but it's important that they're there. In the middle here we've got a caddisfly larva.
ask you about
This
that one.
is actually empty, but it's the wee home that a caddisfly has made in the river. It gathers
I was
together
going to ask you, how does it make that? What is it made
bits
of?
of stick,
Bits of
or
stick.
bits of stone or whatever it can find, and it'll make its case out of that.
From finding so many different creatures, what do you think? What really does this tell us about this river? Can we learn anything from it?
This tells us that this river is very, very healthy. It's got very low levels of pollution, if any at all. It's a good, healthy environment for the creatures. To find things like mayfly and freshwater shrimps in the river is a good sign. It tells us that the water quality is very good.
Because they only live in good water then.
They will be the
Yeah.
first to disappear
So
if the
if the water's
water
bad.
quality goes down.
Now, we would love that you come down and join us in exploration at the river. However, there's a few things to remember before you all rush down here and have a look. The first thing is this: always take an adult with you, just to be sure. The second thing is, wear the right stuff. Pair of welly boots, pair of sturdy shoes, and maybe some waterproofs. The third thing is, before you get into the water at all, check that it's a slow moving and maybe a shallow part of the river, because you don't want to get out into the dangerous deeper water. Number 4, just watch when you're in the water, because there are some slippy stones in there. You don't want to be slipping or sliding on those rocks. Be very careful. You don't want to fall over in the water. And number 5 is this plant, giant hogweed. A few people every year end up in hospital because of the hairs that are all over this plant. It can leave you with big blisters and boils all over whatever part of your body you touch with it. So don't touch it, hold on to it, or even pick it.
It's craft time, so why not have a go in the classroom or at home and make a food web mobile with Stephen.
One of the things I love about rivers is the fact that they provide a habitat for a variety of biodiversity. And one way to illustrate that is by looking at a food chain mobile. So we're going to make one. Now, I've got the equipment here for the mobile, and we're going to focus on a river food chain first of all. Okay, so let's see what I've got. I've got pictures. So I've got pictures here of things that we find in the river. This is a caddisfly. Okay, we've got some decaying organic matter or detritus that we found at the bottom of the river. We have got 2 pictures here. We've got a little fish, maybe a little minnow, and we've got a heron. So what I'm going to do first of all is cut the pictures out. So the next step is to attach the pictures onto some cardboard. And here's some that I cut earlier. Okay, and this will just give it an extra bit of support. So we're going to use some glue. Let's see, our nice glue. And we're just going to put a dab of glue on the back of the pictures. You don't need too much glue, just a little dab. And then we attach the picture onto the nice green cardboard as such. So I'll do this quickly. So now that we have glued all our pictures to the card, the next step is to put them into an order of a food chain. So at the bottom of our food chain, we're going to have what is known as a producer. Okay, normally a plant can go down here. So I'm looking at my 4 cards, and yes, the detritus should go at the bottom. Okay, so we have that at the bottom of our food chain. Now we've got to find something that would like to eat that, something small. So the next step would be our little fly, our caddisfly. We can put it here, just above it. So it eats the detritus. So what would eat the caddisfly? So I think, yes, the small fish, the minnow, would come next in the next step of the food chain. And to finish off, we have our heron, which would go at the top. So that's a bit like a carnivore. It would eat other creatures. Okay, it goes at the top. So what we need to do now is to try to connect these together, and the tool we're going to use is our hole punch. So simple. We're going to put 2 holes in each card, one at the top and one at the bottom, and you'll see why shortly. Then when we get to the last picture, the bottom one, we only need 1 hole at the top, because nothing else will be attached to that. Okay, so to connect them together, we can just use these simple little tags called treasury tags, and you can get them on Amazon. All right, so let's try and connect these together. We'll start at the bottom. So one here, and it joins here. It's like a chain, food chain. Generally in our food chain, energy is passed on each level as the creature below is eaten by the creature above it. And it's all about getting energy. And we have one more. So there we have it, our completed food chain. Let's just take a quick wee recap of it. So we have the heron at the top of our food chain, our river food chain. The heron eats the little fish, the minnow eats the caddisfly, and then at the bottom, the caddisfly would eat the detritus. Now you might be wondering what that is, and really it's like decaying organic matter, dead remains of plants and animals at the bottom of the river, and that's our river food chain. So we have a few other examples to complete our food chain mobile from different habitats. So let's have a look here to see what we've got. We've got an example of a saltwater habitat. So you can see there we've got a shark, a big tuna, smaller fish, and some plankton in the ocean. Then we've got like a woodland food chain with our fox at the top. Fox might eat a bird. The bird might eat like a little insect or grasshopper. And then we've got some plants at the bottom. And we also have like an African savanna food chain. I love this one, where we have our lion, our top carnivore predator at the top. Then we have like a wild wolf here underneath. Then a zebra, and then we've got like savanna grass or a plant here at the bottom as well. So there we have it. We have got our food chains, and if you look closely, you can see they're attached to my little hanger at the top here. This is quite simple to make. I just used two pieces of wood for the wire, and they were put together by a nail, and then I attached 4 little hooks, one at the top to hold it with, and 4 at the bottom for each food chain, and a nail just attaching the pieces of wood between. Now, simple to make. You can order the hooks off Amazon and the treasury tags as well, and if you're doing this, you can get a parent to maybe help you and hammer the nail in. Now let's say I'm just going to put on the last 2 food chains to complete it. So yeah, that wasn't meant to happen, but it's fine. So there's our African one, and let's just add in our river one. And this looks really good in your bedroom or another room in the house. You can hang it up, and then you can talk through your food chains and show your friends and family.
Since we've seen some of the mini creatures in the river and understand the food webs of a river, I wanted to see the bigger creatures. So I went to meet David and Frank from Ballinderry Rivers Trust.
So David, what all do you do here at Ballinderry Rivers Trust?
Well, we're an environmental charity that works in the Ballinderry catchment and the western shore streams of Lough Neagh. Our work ranges from educational work, so working with primary school children in the area. But a lot of my work is focused on farm work. So I visit farmers along our SAC. I do on-farm surveys for them, identify problems that could affect water quality, and give them free advice on how they could correct those problems.
So what have we got here, Frank?
What we've got here is the Ballinderry freshwater pearl mussel, and what you're actually going to see here is one of the freshwater pearl mussels, and that mussel, believe it or not, could be anything from maybe 100 to 120 years of age.
That's much older than me.
That's much older than you say. We're in around now the month of August,
Yeah.
and that's actually the breeding time.
Okay.
And what happens here is the mussels are breeding in the tank here, and this is a very crucial time because whenever the baby mussel leaves the mother, that's whenever they need a host.
Okay.
And whenever that young baby mussel is floating down the river, and this actually happens in the wild actually. So whenever the baby mussel leaves the mother mussel, the baby mussels are floating down the river, and they have to live somewhere for 9 months. And the place where they want to live is on the gills of a fish.
Oh, okay. So these tiny microscopic little mussels are floating down the river,
Floating down the river,
looking for a fish.
looking for a fish.
Wow.
And that's,
Okay.
that's the relationship with the fish and the freshwater pearl mussel.
Okay. So this now is the stage in the fish's life where they're starting to pick up those baby pearl mussels.
Yeah.
What type of fish is this, Frank? First.
These are young dolphin trout,
Okay.
and they're at their age now picking up the kitty on the gills, young baby mussels.
What is dolphin trout? What's the difference between that and an ordinary brown trout or a rainbow
Well,
trout?
the brown trout is a species of the Bondi River. It never lives in the Bondi River.
Okay.
Dolphin trout, a bit like a salmon, only instead of going to the sea, it goes to Loch Ness. So the dolphin trout spends a year or 2 years in Bondi River, goes to Loch Ness, comes back up again as a 3-year-old, and then have its own offspring. So that's the difference between the Loch Ness dolphin trout or a native trout in the Bondi River. Yeah. One moves out of it and back into it, as the native trout stays in it.
And what age are these then?
These trout here were hatched out in and around about March time last year, and now they're ready for picking up the reptilia on their gills. And these fish here now that you see here have young pearl mussels on their gills. So without these, we wouldn't have our mussels.
When we were kick sampling, we got some crustaceans, we got freshwater shrimp. But what you've got in that white tray is much bigger than a freshwater shrimp. What is that?
This here is, we'll just take it out here.
Yeah, go for it.
Let you have a look at it here.
He looks pretty dangerous.
Well, they can't give you a power nip. So there is a wee technique in lifting them out. You lift them out by each side of the shell here.
Yeah.
This is a crayfish,
Right.
and we're breeding them here at the Bondi Fish Hatchery itself here.
Fantastic. Now, Frank, I presume this is a girl or a fella?
This is female.
Is a female.
Yes.
She's got one big claw and one wee claw. What's going on there?
Well, that's the beauty of the crayfish.
Okay.
If it loses its claws or loses its talons, they grow back again.
Get out. That's class.
So that's what I like about these creatures here. That they can repair themselves and grow a new claw or a new talon.
Aren't rivers amazing habitats? From the freshwater shrimp, the caddisfly, the mayfly, little creatures living in this river system. Isn't it great how they provide food for other animals, such as birds and fish and the dolphin trout? And how the dolphin trout protects the mussel by keeping it in its gills, the pearl mussel, and then without that protection, we wouldn't have the pearl mussel today. It's just absolutely amazing. Now, on our next programme, tune in to find out how rocks affect the life of the river.